And then there's Cassian.
Oh, Cassian.
Their training sessions are
explosive,
to say the least. Oh, my gosh.
Could see the very least.
You could practically feel the tension sizzle off the page.
I know, it's like classic Maas, that slow burn.
Oh, yeah.
But, beyond the romantic tension.
Yeah.
They're training.
Welcome back to Witter, your shortcut to really being in the know.
That's right.
With deep dives for busy minds. And today,
We're diving deep.
we are diving deep into A Court of Silver Flames.
Yeah.
The final book in Sarah J. Maas's A Court of Thorns and Roses series.
Big one.
It is a big one.
It is.
And this series has taken
The fantasy world.
the fantasy world by storm.
Yeah, it's huge.
Especially this book,
Yeah.
focusing on Nesta. Might be the most talked about one yet.
For sure. And I think it's because it really, it's not just a standalone story. It really grapples with themes and characters that have resonated with readers throughout the entire series.
And it throws us in right from the start. Right away, we're dealing with the cauldron, that magical artifact that can reshape people.
Right.
Well, Nesta gets a forced introduction to it.
Yeah, it's not a spade.
It is not a spade.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating, I think, how Maas uses the cauldron as a symbol of transformation. And if you think back to Fair's experience with it, in the earlier books, both sisters, they both go through this intense, almost violent rebirth. And it really shapes who they become.
Yeah, it's not pretty.
No, not at all.
And for Nesta, I think it really forces her to confront this darkness that she's been carrying.
Yeah.
We see her relying on a lot of unhealthy coping mechanisms. Alcohol, fleeting relationships.
You name it.
All of it, yeah.
It's all there.
There's even that detail about Nesta putting 4 locks on her door.
Oh, yeah.
Almost as if to keep the world out.
It's such a potent image, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, those locks aren't just about physical safety. They're clearly representing all of Nesta's emotional barriers, the walls that she's built to protect herself from pain.
And speaking of walls, the book puts her right under the same roof as Fair and Rhysand.
Oh, I know.
Despite their strained relationship.
Oh, yeah. That's such a clever move by Maas, I think, because it places Nesta in this environment, this environment that symbolizes everything she both resents and desires.
Totally.
And forces her to confront those feelings head on.
And then there's Cassian.
Oh, Cassian.
Their training sessions are
explosive,
to say the least. Oh, my gosh.
Could see the very least.
You could practically feel the tension sizzle off the page.
I know, it's like classic Maas, that slow burn.
Oh, yeah.
But, beyond the romantic tension.
Yeah.
Their training becomes, I think, a powerful metaphor for Nesta's internal struggle. She's learning to fight. She's learning to control her powers. But it's also about, gaining control over her own life, her own trauma. It runs really deep.
And it's not just Cassian who's helping her on this journey. She finds this powerful connection with Gwyn and Emery, 2 women who have faced their own battles.
And I think that theme of female friendship is so strong in this book. It's these women lift each other up. They challenge each other. They become a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond, I think, the typical girl power trope.
Yeah.
It's about genuine support and understanding.
Right. Absolutely.
Which is so important.
But just when you think Nesta might be finding her footing, this new threat emerges. Bryolin. She's on this quest to find the cauldron.
Oh, no.
And let's just say her intentions aren't exactly noble.
I think this is where Maas ties the book back to the overarching conflict of the series, the struggle for power, the threat of war, the fight against darkness. Bryolin's ambition really puts everything at stake.
And then there's this incredible scene where Nesta journeys into the prison.
Oh, tell me about it.
This place filled with terrifying creatures.
Oh, yeah.
And she finds a golden harp.
The harp. So important, right?
I know.
It's not just some random object. It's a symbol of the Valkyries, these legendary female warriors, right?
Yeah.
It represents the strength and resilience that Nesta is starting to tap into.
And that resilience is really put to the test in that final battle against Lanthes.
Oh, my goodness.
The death god. I mean, she's literally facing death.
Head on.
Head on. And she wields this powerful blade at Araxia to protect Cassian.
Just breathtaking.
Breathtaking. I was on the edge of my seat.
You know, and that moment, for me, is the culmination of Nesta's transformation. It's not just about physical strength, you know. It's about her selflessness, her willingness to fight for something bigger than herself.
And then, of course, there's the mating ceremony.
Oh, the mating ceremony.
Nesta and Cassian finally make it official.
Finally.
And Rysand, being Rysand, pulls out all the stops.
All the stops.
It's extravagant. It's emotional.
I know.
It's everything you would expect from a Maas finale.
Everything.
But I think underneath all of the spectacle, their mating bond represents this much deeper connection.
Absolutely. I mean, they've seen each other at their best and their worst, you know?
Yeah.
And they choose each other anyway.
Right.
It's a really powerful testament to the healing power of love.
And finally, we see Nesta visiting her father's grave.
Oh, yeah.
This moment that feels both heartbreaking and liberating.
So liberating.
At the same time.
It's such a symbolic ending, isn't it? It's like she's finally letting go of the past, forgiving herself and her father, and stepping into the future with this newfound sense of peace.
There is so much that happens in this book.
I know.
It's a whirlwind. Of emotions.
Yes.
Action.
And introspection.
It's all there.
Maas does not hold back.
Not at all. And that's what makes A Court of Silver Flames such a compelling read. It pushes the boundaries of the series. It explores these really complex themes. And it gives us a heroine who is anything but perfect.
And before we go deeper into those themes,
let's take a quick moment to hear from our sponsor.
We'll be right back to unpack the intricacies of Nesta's journey and what it means for the series as a whole. Welcome back to Witter. Before the break, we were just talking about how A Court of Silver Flames really goes deep into the depths of Nesta's character, pushing her, and honestly, pushing us as readers to confront some pretty uncomfortable truths.
Absolutely. And one thing that really struck me is how this book challenges the typical hero's journey narrative. Because Nesta's transformation, it's not linear.
No.
She stumbles, she regresses.
Right.
She makes choices that some people might even consider morally ambiguous.
And that's what makes her journey so relatable, right? I mean, she doesn't fit neatly into a box. She's messy, she's flawed, she's fiercely independent, and she's just constantly grappling with this trauma from her past.
It's almost as if Maas is saying, hey, healing isn't always pretty.
Right.
It's a process.
Exactly.
And it's okay to not have it all figured out.
And that complexity, I think, is reflected in the book's exploration of Illyrian culture. You know, we see that warrior ethos, the emphasis on physical strength. But then you have Nesta, Gwyn, and Emery. And they're challenging those traditional notions.
Emery especially, I think, stands out.
Yes.
Because she's told that she can't be a warrior because she's a woman. But she totally defies those expectations.
She does.
She finds strength in her own way, and it's so empowering to see.
And it raises all these questions, right? About what true strength really looks like. Is it just brute force? Or is it about resilience, adaptability, courage to forge your own path?
And let's not forget the power of female friendship in this book.
Oh, absolutely. It's a driving force throughout this whole story. That bond between Nesta, Gwyn, and Emery.
It's not about competition or rivalry.
No.
It's about genuine support and understanding.
Their dynamic reminded me so much of, like, those classic stories of female warriors, like, fighting side by side, you know, like the Amazons or the Valkyries. But Maas gives it that modern twist, you know, exploring the emotional nuances and complexities of these relationships.
It's a refreshing departure, I think, from the often cliched portrayal of female friendships that we see in a lot of fantasy literature.
Oh, yeah.
These women are strong, they're vulnerable, and they lift each other up without sacrificing their individuality.
And that theme of empowerment even extends, I think, to the romantic relationship between Nesta and Cassian.
Right.
It's fiery.
Oh, it is.
It's passionate. It's deeply sensual.
Yeah.
But it's also built on this foundation of mutual respect and understanding.
Their intimacy is not just physical.
No.
It's about vulnerability, communication, pushing each other to grow.
It's a partnership, you know?
Yeah.
In every sense of the word.
And it's such a stark contrast to the relationships that we see in some other fantasy novels, where women are often kind of relegated to the role of damsel in distress.
Right, exactly.
Or the subservient partner. Nesta and Cassian are equals.
Yes.
They challenge each other.
They do.
And their love story feels so authentic and earned.
It does.
We can't talk about this book without addressing that ending.
The ending.
In Nesta's visit to her father's grave. It's such a powerful moment.
So powerful. It's like she's finally letting go, you know?
Yeah.
Of all that anger and resentment that's been weighing her down. And that forgiveness, even if it's just forgiving herself.
Right.
I think is so crucial to her healing.
It really ties into the book's broader theme of overcoming trauma. And Nesta's journey is just this reminder that healing is a process.
Yes.
It's not always linear.
No.
And it takes courage to confront your past.
And that message, I think, resonates so far beyond just the world of Prythian. You know, it speaks to the human experience, the resilience of the human spirit, and just the possibility of finding peace.
Right.
Even after enduring, you know, profound pain.
But amidst all the darkness and the struggle, Maas infuses this book with moments of humor and lightness.
Oh, for sure. Like, remember when Nesta insists on a simple mating ceremony?
Oh, yeah.
And Rysand, being Rysand, orchestrates this, this extravagant
celebration imaginable.
It's amazing. It's a good reminder that even in the face of adversity, there's always room for joy and laughter.
To those little moments, you know, of humor and genuine connection that make the characters feel so real, so relatable.
They do.
They're not just these figures in a fantasy world. They're people that we could imagine being friends with. You know, people we root for. People we learn from.
And I think that's ultimately what makes A Court of Silver Flames such a compelling read, you know. It's a story about transformation. About finding strength in unexpected places, about the power of love and forgiveness, and about embracing, you know, that messy, complicated beauty of being human.
Yeah, it really makes you think, doesn't it, about your own life, your own struggles, and the kind of strength you might have in you.
Makes you wonder how the series would have been different if it had been written from Nesta's perspective from the beginning.
Oh, interesting.
You know, because she was always this character that evoked these really strong reactions from readers. And I think giving her this much space to grow and evolve really adds a whole new dimension to the story we thought we knew.
Yeah, I mean, you see those hints, right, of her strength and vulnerability throughout the series.
You do, yeah.
But it's in this book that she really comes into her own.
Totally. And the way Maas connects Nesta's journey to the larger world of Prythian is so masterful. I mean, you see all the political machinations, the looming threat of war, but it's all filtered through this lens of Nesta's personal experience, you know?
It's a good reminder that even in these epic fantasies, it's those individual stories, the human connections that really resonate.
And speaking of connections, I think the ending leaves us with such a sense of hope, you know? Nesta and Cassian are mated, Fair and Rysand are ruling Prythian. And even Elaine seems to be on the cusp of her own transformation.
Her own journey.
Yeah. I mean, it's a satisfying resolution, but it hints at new possibilities, you know? New stories waiting to be told.
That's the beauty of a series like this. It's this whole world you can just get lost in that feels both familiar and fantastical.
I think so. As we wrap up our deep dive into A Court of Silver Flames, we have a few questions for you to ponder.
Okay, hit me.
What did you find most surprising about Nesta's journey?
Ooh, that's a good one.
And how did this book change your perspective on the series as a whole? I love that. And maybe most importantly, what does Nesta's story teach us about resilience? About self-belief and about finding our own unique paths to strength and healing.
Let us know.
Yes.
What you think. We love hearing from you, our Witter listeners.
Until next time.
Keep those pages turning.
Yes.
And those minds engaged.
We'll be back soon
with another deep dive into a world that's worth exploring.